Hello and welcome to Golden West College Football and SoCalCollegeSports.com. Today, the Rustlers return home to take on the Cerritos College Falcons. Hello again, everybody. Jeff Stoynoff joined by Ed Rientasso for today's game. And Ed, let's take a look at last week, and we'll start with Golden West College. They won their fourth straight going on the road, defeating Long Beach City College 31-24, but not without some self-imposed obstacles. They didn't do themselves any favors, but they managed to emerge with the victory anyway.
And that's right, Jeff. They got off to a slow start. It was 10-3 at the half. The Vikings actually went toe-to-toe with the Rustlers offense. It was pretty much a heavyweight fight, but in the fourth quarter, defense really prevailed. They had a sack strip on Jed Petty, the quarterback, took it back 67 yards, punched it in with a 4-yard touchdown run that pretty much sealed it. Even though the Vikings got a touchdown at the end, it was very interesting, but a lot of key things that had come out of that game. One I'm looking at today is, can Coach Mitchell get this team back on track? Because there was mistakes made last week. They had 4 turnovers. You hardly see a team win the game with 4 turnovers in one game. And that was very interesting. The Vikings weren't able to capitalize on those opportunities. Also, the penalties. They had some penalties last week. We know Golden West leads in penalties. That's something they got to clean up. Cannot get first downs against the Falcons today.
Yeah, 13 penalties for Golden West, 4 turnovers, as you mentioned, but somehow managed to pick up the win. So credit to Golden West. They keep their playoff hopes alive, certainly. Still very much in the fray, 6-1 overall, 4-0 in conference, and obviously they have to take care of business today, but they look ahead potentially to a huge matchup next week when they travel to Mount Sac. That's got all kinds of playoff implications potentially. Let's quickly talk about Cerritos, and we'll keep an eye here just in case they're getting ready to do the national anthem. We might have to step aside, but we'll turn our attention to Cerritos. They have their backs against the wall when it comes to the postseason. They're 3-4, likely need to win their last 2 if they want to go back to the postseason in 2024. But they do get sophomore quarterback Dylan Eldridge back into the fold. He will make his 3rd start of the season today, so they get some of that experience back at the quarterback position.
It's tough when you lose your main guy to an injury. For him coming back has really helped this Falcons offense pretty much put up points, put up stats, and a good time for him to come back because the season really relies on today and next week. So very perfect time for him to make his return.
Yeah, it's a tough assignment today. Then they have to come back home and take care of business against East Los Angeles College. They'll need to win both in all likelihood. We are moments away from the opening kickoff. We'll step aside, rejoin you for today's game, Cerritos and Golden West College coming up.
team captains for Golden West today are number 6, Andrew Jordan, number 13, Colin Payne, number 27, Marcus Works, and number 74, Matthew Manion.
All right, guys, expect to see some good sportsmanship out here. You're the captains. Help control your team. Heads, tails, what would you like to call? Tails. Tails we call. Heads. Where you want the ball? Right. Pick that way perfect. Golden West has won the toss, has elected to defer. Cerritos will receive this in the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem?
Let's win today.
Getting set to go. The Rustlers won the toss, elected to defer, so we will see the Falcon offense first. Game time temperature 67 degrees. Periodic wind gusts between 5 and 10 miles an hour, so just enough wind to potentially be a factor down on the field. We'll have to keep track of how that goes, but otherwise, near perfect conditions for some fall football here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
And the weather is going to cooperate with us a little bit today. It is 67, as you mentioned. A little windy. A little more windy when we came earlier.
Falcons have to come in here with a measure of confidence, certainly. They've been very close in a couple of games that they've lost this season. It's a 3-4 record, but one that arguably could be slightly different depending on if they could get a couple of breaks potentially to go their way. But going back to last year, a thrilling matchup between these two teams that went down to the wire. In fact, that went down to the last play.
Absolutely. Golden West won on a touchdown pass with 1 second left.
You know, I'm reminded of our conversation with Nick Mitchell this week and talking about the potential for this to be a trap game when you look at the possibility of a mammoth matchup next week with Mount Sac for Golden West with all kinds of playoff implications. And Nick Mitchell said, we're not too worried about it. They watched film on these guys, and they know they're pretty good. So he's like, we didn't have to do a lot of talking to our team this week to keep them on message. They took a look at these guys on film. They know they're good. They know they have their hands full here today.
Well, they were coming off a big win last week against the Vikings, and we all know the last-second touchdown win last year.
Opening kick taken and a little razzle-dazzle to start with Caldarella finding a little space. He's out past the 32 to 34-yard line. Caldarella, who had a return for a touchdown in the victory against Citrus last week for the Falcons, sets up Cerritos with good field position for their opening drive.
You know, we talk about Cerritos with their season most likely on the line today. Maybe a good opportunity for them. In the last 4 meetings between these two teams, Cerritos has won 3 or 4 until Golden West snatched one from them last year.
So they'll come out with Eldridge with Hayes in the backfield, 4 wide receivers, and some movement, and we have our first flag. Were the Rustlers drawn off? No, it's going to be against Golden West. So, Ed, for the Rustlers picking up where they left off last week, that's not where they want to be, but they get a penalty here on the very first play.
Never want to have a penalty right in the first play of the game. We saw that here a couple of weeks ago against the Pirates. Same scenario, defense. Most of the penalties were by them, offsides.
Yeah, after on the season, the Rustlers just under 12 penalties a game. Hayes trying to bounce it to the outside. He's going to lose yardage. Terahidi Wolf in the backfield very quickly. Another flag is down. The Rustlers, as they seemingly always are, in the top 5 in the 3C2A in terms of rushing yards allowed at a little under 50 a game. This is a very difficult unit against whom to run the ball. But that won't matter too much if you pick up penalties on every play. 2 plays, 2 penalties. This one, a 15-yard penalty going against Golden West.
Back-to-back penalties to start the game. And again, Rustlers are not doing themselves any favors. Now you look at the scenario, the Falcons in Rustler territory in just 2 plays.
Yeah, they're already to the Golden West 46-yard line. They'll go in the pistol formation again. Hayes solo in the backfield. Gavin Porch in motion. And they pitch it to Hayes running right. Javon Taylor tracking him down from that nose guard spot. It's a loss of 3 on the play. This is some great speed from Javon Taylor. Watch him track this play down from the interior of that line, get outside, and get to Hayes. That's impressive from Taylor.
And what we saw last week, every time the ball was at a certain area of the field, you see the Rustlers front 4 chasing the ball, making plays. That front 4 is what's going to make the difference today on defense.
They have great experience and talent at the defensive end spot with Andrew Jordan and Daniel Viramontes, but Taylor makes a big play as well. Completion to Porch, able to slip a tackle at the line, get down to the 41. It'll bring up a 3rd down and about 5 for Cerritos. Going back to last year, Eldridge, 10 carries, negative 51 yards. And obviously what you glean from that is he is a pocket passer. They are going to have to protect him here today against this Rustler pass rush.
We've seen the defense the last 2 games put pressure on the quarterbacks, even good quarterbacks, like the Pirates, Zach Congleton, they dual threaded, and Jet Petty was an aggressive passer.
Deep drop, good protection. They throw and complete to Grossfeld. 1st down and more. Grossfeld inside the 30, out of bounds. Will wait for the spot, but he has the 1st down easily. Run out of bounds by Noel Vallejo. There is another flag down.
See the blocking by the Falcons offense and receiver wide open. Running room.
Yeah, that's Chase Grossfeld. And
that one's coming back.
This is against Cerritos, and the first penalty against the Falcons will negate the 1st down and instead bring up a 3rd and long. Chase Grossfeld, of course, the son of 7th-year head coach Dean Grossfeld for the Falcons.
Well, they got up to a good start with 2 free penalties in Rustler territory. Now, a big play pass interference puts it back on their own 49-yard line, 44 actually.
44-yard line, and yeah, penalties absolutely can be a killer. And this one going a long way toward potentially killing this drive. We'll see on a 3rd and 20, but a big turnaround on that call against the Falcons. 3 wide receivers to the right for this 3rd and 20 play. Short drop inside, handoff to Hayes. Has a little bit of running room, breaks a tackle at midfield. Hayes still on his feet, able to get back a chunk of the yardage brought down by Kane Elroy at the Rustler 45, but it still leaves a 4th and 9, and we'll see the punting unit for the Falcons.
I'd say that was a good call on 3rd down. Why risk it, make a big play, make a mistake, turn the ball over. We've seen that a lot last week. Falcons decided to go a little conservative and got a lot of yards back.
And it's Eldridge who's going to quick kick it rather than bringing out Christian Guerra. And a good job by Eldridge. This will take a Falcon bounce inside the 10, down to the 7, a 38-yard kick, no return. And the Rustlers will start their first drive with very poor field position, and we'll see Will Burns and the Rustler offense.
Will Burns was a hero last week. Had 3 touchdown passes, threw for 279 yards. He also had 111 yards on the ground last week.
Far and away the leading rusher on the season getting close to 500 yards rushing for the season for Will Burns. So does it all for this offense. And obviously a dual threat.
Be very interesting to see what they'll do today as far as running or passing.
Burns empties the backfield on first down, and a quick throw out in the flat, complete for a first down. As he finds Beck Walker out of the backfield, that gives the Rustlers a little breathing room to start with. One play and a first down out to the 20-yard line, 13-yard gain. Beck Walker will work with Kendrick Thomas in the backfield. Aaron Mitchell, the third in the trio of backs for the Rustlers on the season, was a game-time decision with a thigh bruise. Inside pass complete, first down and more, finding Noah Burdick. Burdick out to the 35-yard line. Brought down by Rulroy Luvu. 14 yards for Burdick. 2 plays, 2 first downs, and the Rustlers immediately on the move out to the 34-yard line. Burns will send Walker in motion. They keep it on the ground with Thomas. Thomas pushing the pile on the right side, and you see the work as Thomas continues to churn. Turns what looked like it was going to be a gain of perhaps a yard or two into 4 yards.
We look at this Rustlers offense rushing over 181 yards per game. Very aggressive running team they have.
Well, we talked about Burns and the rushing yards for Burns, but Thomas, Walker, Mitchell have worked well as a trio, anchoring this running game as well for the Rustlers. A dart over the middle, complete to Payne, who breaks a couple of tackles into Falcon territory, down to the 36-yard line. Burns, sharp early, has completed 3 passes, and the Rustlers, who started at their own 7, have it down to the Cerritos 36. They want to move quickly. They fake to Thomas. First carry for Burns, who trips over his own feet. After he makes a good little move, he'll get 4 yards, brings up a second down and 6, but it could have been more.
Oh, he wasn't able to stand on his feet.
Yep.
Could have had more yardage, but unfortunately tripped and only got about 2 yards or so.
Yeah, they will spot that just inside the 34. So a couple of yards after he made a good move against Caleb Nui Yandal, the linebacker, and looked like he was going to have some running room. But the turf tripped him up, and it'll leave a 2nd and 8. Receivers left and right for the Rustlers in the home black jerseys. Play action, quick throw, and he sails it, nearly intercepted. Great shot for Devion Jordan over on the outside. And I think the Rustlers catch a major break here that Jordan's not anticipating this football coming his way.
And Jordan had an opportunity to get an interception, just went through his hands and hardly get a second chance to make plays like that. You always got to execute on the first chance you get.
Yeah, hard to say if that was intended for Payne or Burdick. Looked in between both of them. 3rd and 8. Straight drop. Burns with good protection. Guns over the middle. Through the hands of Burdick. The intended target. The Rustler drive stalls at the 34, and a decision for Nick Mitchell. This would be a 51-yard field goal. That is well outside the long for Fernando Mancia at 43 yards. And do you think about going for it here on a 4th and a long 7? And for the moment, the Rustler offense still on the field.
Well, you got to build that confidence and send a message that this is your home game, and you got to take it to them.
Burns sets up, throws over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Trey Nelson. And the Rustlers will turn it over on downs. And again, this goes back to something that we talked about with Nick Mitchell. Will Burns having an outstanding season, completing 64% of his passes, 19 touchdown passes. We've talked about the running game as well. But Nick Mitchell said the one area of opportunity they're still working on with Will Burns is accuracy in terms of throwing the football. He overshoots one pass on a 3rd down, then had Trey Nelson, who appeared to have a step, really underthrew that ball. Didn't give Nelson much of a chance. So a little struggle early for Burns on that series, certainly as the drive stalls. The Falcons back on offense, keeping on the ground on first down. Porch, a pickup of a couple, leaves a 2nd down and 8. So both teams had it going for a moment on their opening drives, but ultimately stalled. We're still scoreless. 9-10 and counting remaining in the opening quarter.
We've seen the Rustlers get out to slow starts so far this season. Looks like that struggle still continues here today.
Well, in one sense, it was mission accomplished. That drive started back at their own 7-yard line. They were able to change the field position at least somewhat, making it all the way to the Cerritos 34 before turning it over on downs. And they will whistle this play dead, and we'll await the call. Our referee today, Brian Mills.
Start offense, number 63, 5-yard penalty.
Tell you, we've seen a lot of penalty markers early on in the first quarter.
Yep.
You know, you mentioned Cerritos had a drive going in the last possession, but that huge pass interference penalty negated the gain, and they were getting close to the red zone. And we see penalties really can kill the offense momentum.
Yeah, Cerritos, for their part, only averages a little over 6 penalties a game on the season. So typically, they've been disciplined in terms of not hurting themselves with penalties.
Meanwhile, the Rustlers have been committing a lot of penalties this season.
Blitz coming, good protection. Complete to Grossfeld. Vallejo will get a little help from safety Marcus Works, getting Grossfeld out of bounds at the 42-yard line. A gain of 11. Leaves a 3rd and a long 3. The Falcons on the season converting at just 30% on 3rd down. But this certainly a more manageable variety at just 3rd and 2.
You know, when it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, the playbook's open. You can either run, quick pass, slant, run, play action, quarterback draw, anything.
Cheo Medina in the backfield. Deep drop for Eldridge again. Good protection. Airs it out. Complete to Porch. First down deep in Rustler territory. Eldridge delivers a strike.
Porch was in double coverage, able to make the catch. And again, the pressure was coming. Eldridge had to get rid of it.
39-yard gain.
Porch on the season averages just 10.8 yards per reception. That time able to get downfield for 39 yards. So the big play belongs to the Falcons here in the opening quarter. They are in the red zone at the 19 with a 1st and 10.
An opportunity here to get a touchdown. That was a great play by the offense and also by the quarterback and receiver.
And I think you have to be impressed early on with the protection that Dylan Eldridge is getting from that offensive line up front. Medina's first carry, he is chopped down in the backfield.
The pitch goes to Cheo Medina.
You know,
A loss on the play, sorry.
The one thing about the Rustlers defense, every time they give up a big play, the next play they come back and they get you back.
Yeah.
That was more of a little return there by the Rustlers front line.
This is a defense with a short memory. We talked a lot about last week, and Jet Petty, 413 yards passing in that game, but the Rustlers still able to stay the course and get the win. They maintain that level of aggressiveness. It doesn't matter what's going on the field. Loss of 2 brings up a 2nd down and 12. They'll send Hayes in motion. Eldridge guns over the middle, completes. Short gain on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
You know, Jeff, you talk about Jet Petty. He's pretty much remarkable to these both teams because about a month ago against Cerritos, he threw for almost 500 yards against his Falcons defense. And you look at last week, threw for 400 yards against the Rustlers defense. So he's pretty much recognizable when it comes to these two teams.
That was the first reception for Isaiah Blair. Brings up a 3rd down and 8 from the 17 of Golden West. Deep drop for Eldridge. Again, completes, going back to Porch. Porch appears to be short of the 1st down.
Catches made by Gavin
Brandon Soleil, Kane Elroy combined on the stop.
Play goes for 8 yards, and it is a 1st down.
And it looks as though, Porch just gets enough. You see Jaden Jackson actually the first to get there, brings him down, but Porch falling forward, needed 8 yards. Got 8 yards and a few inches, it looked like, but enough for a 1st down.
The Rustlers was like they were playing a little deeper, going for the end zone, and Eldridge was able to find Porch near the front, able to pick up the yards, and now they got the 1st down.
2nd, 3rd down conversion on this drive. Going to the quick slant, and it's incomplete. Boy, I'll tell you, Marcus Works had a great shot at this football.
Looked like somebody got their hands on it.
Yeah. Let's see if we can see. This is down at field level. It's hard to say that, but it looked like Works was really on that pass. I don't know how he didn't get the football. Is that possible, Matt? Can we maybe take a look at that one more time from up top?
Yeah, it looked like I saw a hand go in the air where that ball was thrown.
Meanwhile, we do want to see if we can All right, we're going to take a quick look. We'll keep you apprised of what's going on the field. First down, Blair in motion, 2nd and goal from the 10, still looking in the pass incomplete. As you look one more time at that replay, and well, I'll tell you, there were a couple of black jerseys in the path of that pass. Falcons keep it 3rd down and goal from the 10, 5:26 remaining in the opening quarter. Meanwhile, the Rustlers making a couple of last-second changes. We're ready to go.
Let's see if they'll do pressure here on 3rd down.
They do bring the blitz. They throw it outside, complete to Medina, who breaks a tackle, dives for the pylon, looks like he's short. They had Medina.
Knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line.
I'm going to say that he was knocked out of bounds at the 5. Let's watch one more time here as Medina, just for a moment, he's one-on-one, and that is a touchdown-saving tackle from Terahidi Wolf, who gets just enough of Medina to get him out of bounds. We'll see a field goal attempt of 22 yards for Christian Guerra, who's 3 of 8 on the season from the right hash. Kick is down, and he pulled it.
Oh.
So Guerra misses from 22 yards, continues to struggle in the kicking game. He's now 3 of 9.
Almost
after
a block.
He misses the short attempt from 22 yards.
Hey, look at the replay. Almost a block.
Yeah, the Rustlers able to get in there.
But I tell you, it's got to be frustrating driving down the field and then he's coming up empty.
Yeah, Guerra, for his part, had an outstanding game a week ago, converting on his lone field goal attempt, hitting all 4 extra points in the win against Citrus, but unfortunately takes a step back for Falcon fans as he misses from just 22 yards. And the Rustlers escape, and they're still tied. No score, 4:57 remaining in the opening quarter. Burns and the offense back on. The read option this time, they go to the handoff, and a gain of perhaps a couple. Aaron Mitchell, who was a game-time decision, is able to go, picks up a couple of yards to the 22. It'll be a 2nd down and 8.
Well,
yeah, that's deflating certainly on that last drive, because not only do you get the chip shot field goal attempt, but a couple of big 3rd down conversions. Really could have done a lot for your confidence coming in here. You come away with some points. Instead, you got to go back to work, still in a tie game. Burns on the move, finds some running room on the right side, absorbs a big hit near the 1st down marker. Coming back, it was Tomczyk, Adam Tomczyk, the sophomore.
8-yard gain on the run.
Bounce back from Utah State, tracking this play down. See Burns take some punishment out to the 30. 3rd down and 1 for Golden West. The Rustlers on the season converting at 42% on 3rd down.
Correction, it's ruled a 1st down.
Actually going to give him the 1st down.
Yeah, it's that stat premature, as it turns out, as they get the 1st down. So
you see the Rustlers make adjustment on offense. You wonder if they were going to do that quarterback sneak on 3rd down with the energy and the strength that Will Burns carries with his legs.
Well, they put a lot of faith in Burns on that read option, and he has been so effective this season. 1st and 10 from the 30. Play action for Burns and a completion on the far side.
Catch made by Robert Sarmiento.
Sarmiento with his first catch. E.J. Smith with the stop. A gain of 8 brings up a 2nd down and 2.
And Sarmiento, he had a great game last week against the Vikings, making big plays and big catches in that victory.
Smith, an interesting story as well. We were looking at the stats before the game, and E.J. Smith, a returning sophomore at linebacker, also saw some time at running back a season ago with 9 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown as a freshman. So far this season, as the Rustlers pick up the 1st down, E.J. Smith has not had a carry, but last year was a dual threat for the Falcons.
Must it be a challenge for Smith to go from one position on one side of the field to the other side from offense to defense?
Electing to focus on that linebacker spot. 1st and 10 from the 45. Back to Mitchell. Nothing doing on the left side.
Hand off to Aaron Mitchell. No gain.
Tomczyk again quickly there, along with Leroy Palu. And they'll unpile. Falcons on that play quickly. No gain. A 2nd and 10. Well, despite the penalties, a fairly quick moving 1st quarter.
Absolutely.
2:05 and counting remaining in the opening quarter. Still no score. Happy you've joined us for Rustler football on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Play action over the middle, finds Payne again. First down, Payne dragging a tackler. It's Dozier trying to bring him down, and finally gets a little help from E.J. Smith, but Payne able to get it to the Cerritos 33-yard line. First down, Golden West. They're back in Falcon territory.
Colin Payne's one of the strong receivers on his team. It took 5 Falcon defenders just to take him down.
First down carry, and a couple of yards for the Rustlers. And
Handoff to Beck Walker.
Colin Payne, 6'1", 200. Very, very strong when it comes to yards after catch.
did have a touchdown reception in the win at Long Beach last week. Gain of a couple
2nd and 8.
brings up a 2nd down and 8. Kendrick Thomas back in the backfield for the Rustlers, who will go with dual setbacks for the 2nd and 8 play. Play action, Burns lofts, looking for Thomas. Made the catch going out of bounds, but didn't get the feet down. Should have a good look at this one, as Burns perhaps got a little too much air under this football.
Yeah, Thomas did a great job being open, but unfortunately did not have enough room to make that catch. And
Yeah, he's well out of bounds.
little overthrow there by Burns.
With that wheel route coming out of the backfield, it was shades of Marshall Faulk.
You mean Marshall.
3rd down and 8 from the 31. This right about the spot where the first Rustler drive was stopped. Burns has
There he
all kinds
goes.
of running room. First down and more. He's inside the 20. He'll slide down at the 18-yard line. 13-yard run, a 3rd down conversion for Golden West.
And that's what makes Will Burns very dangerous on offense. The minute he sees an opportunity to take off, he goes. He turns on the Jets. And no, I'm not talking about New York Jets. I'm about real Jets.
Out in the flat,
Oh!
a huge hit. Sarmiento takes a big hit looking for that football, as Jalen Dozier, the sophomore cornerback, had him lined up and delivered the hit.
Just watch the hit. Wonder if that was considered a helmet-to-helmet.
Well, it looked to me like Dozier did a pretty good job leading with the shoulder, but the contact was certainly up high on Sarmiento. I don't know if it was helmet to helmet. We're going to have one more look at it. But no call coming. 2nd down, blitz coming. Burns flushed from the pocket. He'll tuck it and run. Forced out of bounds after a gain of about 5. E.J. Smith able to push him out of bounds. It'll bring up a 3rd down. Yeah, I thought Dozier, at least at the first look that we had at it, did a pretty good job of leading with the shoulder, but Sarmiento certainly took that shot
3rd down and 5 at the 12.
up at his head. Certainly they'll take a look at Robert Sarmiento.
Sarmiento very, very fortunate to get up after that hit. Wow, that looked
showed
very,
a lot
very heavy from up here.
Showed a lot of toughness getting up. That was a big hit from Dozier. Meanwhile, it's a 3rd and 5 from the Falcon 13. Beck Walker in the backfield. Well, the blitz coming, good protection. Burns pop flies, looking for Sarmiento, and it's incomplete.
Penalty
Now
marker.
late flag comes in.
A lot of contact near the end zone.
Yeah, Daniel Cassidy was there. And we'll watch.
Sarmiento, the intended receiver, and
Interference, defense.
contact there at the end. You wonder if that was a catchable pass.
Yeah, Cassidy is lagging a step behind there. He's beaten on that play, and he's trying to recover. And I think as Sarmiento moved back to try and play that ball that was underplayed, you see the contact, and Cassidy picks up the pass interference penalty. And that gives the Rustlers new life inside the 5. Walker on the carry, tries to cut it back, but he stood up. Falls forward perhaps for a yard on the final play of the first quarter. We are through 1. No score, but the Rustlers are on the doorstep when we come back to start the second quarter. It's Golden West College football on SoCalCollegeSports.com. 2nd and goal. Football resting on the Cerritos 2-yard line. A chance for the Rustlers to break on top as we start the second quarter. Yeah, we're under a half hour. That is old school. Burns will work under center. They'll go with a jumbo package. Javon Taylor in the backfield. Burns on the keeper. No signal yet. And he's in. So Burns able to use that big body to push the pile. 210 pounds, and he needed all of it. Looked like he got a little help from Javon Taylor, and he is following the interior of that offensive line. Inoki Samita, his center Wesley Hauk, Lihano Atuatasi at the guards with a good push, enough to get Burns in from a couple of yards out. So the Rustlers able to convert after the missed field goal. And they take it down the field. Extra point from Mancia good. And with 14:53 remaining in the first half, it's Golden West that grabs the lead at 7-0. Porch, Caldarella back deep for the Falcons, and it's not how you wanted to draw it up in terms of how it starts for Cerritos, but they've had the ball twice, have managed to move the football on both occasions. Yep. Yeah, as much success as Cerritos has had moving the football, and they have had the one lengthy drive, managed to at least pick up a couple of first downs on each drive. Golden West had a very good opening drive that stalled in Cerritos territory, and that time they were able to finish the job going 80 yards with Burns taking it in from 2 yards out. Caldarella fakes this time on lateral, has a lot of running room. He's out to the 40. Caldarella at midfield and finally forced out of bounds in Golden West territory. A late flag comes in, but another good return for the Falcons. This one potentially sets them up with very good field position. Yeah, as a team, yeah, it is. Tack on 15. So very good field position turns into outstanding field position. Yep. Yeah, the Falcons as a team averaging a little over 25 yards per return in the kick return game. So they have been very good this season, and that number is going up here today after the big return by Caldarella. And the 15-yard penalty will take it all the way to the Golden West 28, where it'll be 1st and 10, dual setbacks for Dylan Eldridge and the Falcons. Medina, little cutback, finds some running room. He's inside the 25, down to the 23. 5 yards on the carry.
Five-yard gain, 2nd and 5.
Want to quickly correct, that was Isaac Aninye on the carry. So Aninye picks up 5 yards, brings up a 2nd down and 5. Receivers left and right. Snap to Eldridge. They'll go back to Aninye, running left. Gain of a couple.
Handoff to Isaac Aninye.
Tracked down by Cruz Wheeler coming off the edge. A gain of 3 brings up a big 3rd down and 2. This would be a 37-yard field goal from here, and there are gusting winds here today between 5 and 10 miles an hour, so it's not great conditions for kicking. And certainly if you're the Falcons, definitely thinking about coming up with 6s rather than 3s, even in the best-case scenario. Eldridge with a defender in his face just flicks it forward. Was the catch made? It looks like it was, but still a little bit shy of first down yardage, it would appear.
Made on the play by Joshua Cason. 1 yard gain, 4th down and 1.
When you're on the road against Golden West, we know that the Rustlers can score a lot of points here at home.
It's a 4th and 1, and the Falcons, perhaps in a nod to some of the struggles in the kicking game, are going to go for it. They're 15 of 30 on 4th down this season, so they have a tendency to go for it. This an easy call, you would think. They'll keep it on the ground. Hayes appears to have first down yardage. Following the right side of that offensive line, Jordan Mora, Kamuta, Liwasa. On the right side, both sophomores with a good push, and Hayes sprung for the first down. The Falcons convert on a 4th and 1.
Very definitely needed that 4th down conversion. Now they have a new set of downs, and they can still try to get a touchdown if they're able to stay on the field in this drive.
Yeah, Kamuta Lavasa at that right guard spot, listed as a center, but shifts to the right guard spot this season. And they do a good job sealing off that Rustler defense. And Hayes picks up that critical first down. Low snap, Eldridge has it, guns to Blair and completes. Blair takes a big hit from Drew Faulkner after a gain of about 6. Second catch for Blair, leaves a 2nd down and 4. This is a good response from the Falcons after they give up that touchdown.
Eldridge did a good job. Low snap, able to control it and still make the play. Get a couple yards.
Yeah, Blair averaging over 22 yards per reception on the season. He would appear to be the vertical threat for the Falcons, but a couple of short catches for Blair so far here in the first half. Joshua Cason in the backfield in the pistol formation. 2nd down and 4. Eldridge looking right, throws and completes, going back to Porch, who's been his favorite target here in the first half. Jaden Jackson there quickly, but a gain of 3 brings up a 3rd and a long 1 from the Golden West 9. And I can't help but think that even from this part of the field, we might be talking about 4-down territory here for the Falcons.
When you get close to the red zone, there's always an opportunity for 4-down territory. You always want to get 7 instead of 3.
Yeah, well, and particularly when there have been some struggles in the kicking game, it would seem this season. Porch in motion. They'll flip to Cason, running right, cuts it back. Cason appears to be close to the first down marker. It's going to come down to the spot.
The pitch goes to Joshua Cason.
That was a great job closing defensively.
First down marker.
Again, the front 4 bringing pressure.
Andrew Jordan, the standout sophomore defensive end. And see Jordan there working against Lavasa.
It looks like they're going to go for a field goal, or they're going to stay on the field.
Well, Eldridge is still there.
It looked like he was about to come out. He decided to go back in. Well, they did try to go for a field goal earlier in this range, but missed it. And you mentioned the kicking game really struggling for the Falcons this season.
Well, I like the call for the Falcons here. They'll go with the jumbo package. Hayes in the deep eye, gets the handoff. Works the left side this time. He's inside the 5, has the first down. That's a great job, and we'll talk about a couple of freshmen on the left side, Demetrio Sandoval, Rogelio Baca. As that time the Falcons mix it up, go to the other side, but get a similar result. Hayes again converts on 4th down.
Well, they call Hayes number 3 plays ago to get the first 4th down conversion. They call him again this time, and he was able to get past and get the first down again. Another opportunity to tie the game.
Came in leading the Falcons with 363 yards rushing on the season. So he's been the leading rusher. Play action. Eldridge going to be sacked. Back outside the 10. Terahidi Wolf coming on the blitz. And the Rustlers come up with a big play inside the 10.
7-yard loss.
Looks like that would manage to be a play action, but the Rustlers defense did not buy.
Yeah, and nobody got a block on Terahidi Wolf.
No, he got past really quick.
Yep. 10-yard line.
It's a great job by Wolf reading the play. Big sack. They'll spot it at the 10. It's 2nd and goal from the 10, but it takes you from inside the 5 back to the 10-yard line. Bunch formation. Blitz coming. Eldridge guns, completes to Grossfeld. Wolf there quickly to bring him down at the 6. And it brings up a 3rd and goal from the Golden West 5-yard line.
See Josh Clark, number 52, going right at the quarterback. Eldridge had to throw that away really quick or get another sack.
Yeah, it's a great job by Eldridge picking up The hot read finding Grossfeld on the blitz, gets that football out. But shy of the goal line, brings up a 3rd and goal from the 5. Hayes, the solo setback. They'll overload the right side. Looking right, the throw, finding Blair. Blair near the goal line, sheds a tackle, and he's in.
Blair did a good job dodging the tackle. He got in, got 6 points.
Yeah, it looked like Marcus Works had a shot at Blair to keep him out of the end zone. Yeah, watch Works here, and Blair just wins the battle. Just enough strength to shed that tackle and get in for the touchdown.
That is good. 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Yeah, now there was a personal foul call, and I saw that Works took his helmet off in frustration at the end of that play, and I wonder if that was the call, as Works appeared to lose his composure a little bit. Obviously disappointed that he couldn't keep Blair out.
Yeah, not sure what he was upset about that, made him do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just felt like he had a shot at Blair and wanted to keep him out on that 3rd down play, but Blair able to slip that tackle and get in. Extra point attempt is up and good for Guerra. And we've already seen in a couple of games that we've covered this season how extra points can be critical. They have a way of coming up, so Guerra does a good job to convert, keeps this at 7-7, 8:21 remaining in a fast-moving first half. It's Golden West College football on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Special teams so often a storyline, and certainly that the case here. That drive just 28 yards if you go back after the big return by Caldarella, the penalty against Golden West. It was a short field. Falcons take full advantage. They take it in from 28 yards out as Eldridge finds Blair on a 5-yard touchdown pass. Squib kick taken at the 10. And a little bit of running room over on the far side. And picking his way forward out to the 30. That's a great job on a low kick that is designed to really take away any kind of return. You still get about 20 yards out to the 30-yard line. The Rustlers, for their part, on the season as a team, have been averaging just under 16 yards per return for the year. So this, a very solid return given the situation, as it's Kalen Montgomery, the freshman from Cerritos.
This recent one by the Falcons was 11 plays.
Yeah, for just 28 yards. It was still a fairly lengthy drive. You look, we're already midway through the second quarter. Meanwhile, there are flags down on the return.
Personal foul. Kicking team, number 26.
Well, that's not going to work for the Falcons.
Yeah, just as the Falcons were certainly aided by that personal foul on the previous kick. So turnabout is fair play, and the Rustlers themselves benefit, and now will have very good field position at their own 45 to start this drive, tied at 7 here in the second quarter.
And look at the Rustlers decided to make an exchange in penalty yardage. You mentioned they got a 15-yard penalty from the last play, and then now you see a 15-yard penalty committed by the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons uncharacteristically have hurt themselves with some penalties here in this first half. Thomas hit in the backfield. Adrian Castro waiting for him as soon as he got that football, and he will be thrown for a loss of 3. Second down and 13.
Yeah, Thomas ran into a group of Falcon defenders who wanted to introduce themselves to him. Make a couple yard loss saying, hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, the polite hosting being led by Adrian Castro, the freshman. There quickly, and a loss of 3 sets up a second down and 13. Burns once again has led the way on the ground for the Rustlers. They'll go back to the handoff, and Palu delivers a big hit at the line. No gain on the play. He's fired up. Falcons with a great response, now feeling it after the touchdown drive, and they have forced an immediate 3rd and long.
Very, very executed, well played by the Falcons defense.
And again, that defensive line, and Nick Mitchell was very concerned about the talent on that defensive line for the Falcons, who are without arguably one of their biggest playmakers in Cavante Henry, it would seem today. But even outside of that, Nick Mitchell very concerned about the talent on that defensive line. Burns scrambling, looking for a lane. He's forced out of bounds near the first down marker, but it looks like he's about 2 yards shy. They'll spot it at the Falcon 42, or I should say 47. That's a gain of 11. It brings up a 4th down and 2, and can the Rustlers even consider gambling here at midfield in a tie game? It looks like no. We are going to see the punting unit.
Well, the defense has played well in the first half. They're able to stop the Falcons' offense.
Yeah, Fernando Mancia, who was averaging 36.5 yards a kick on the season, will come on and kick it away from the Rustler 46. Good protection, Mancia. Drops this one inside the 20. This is going to be a very good kick. Takes a Rustler bounce inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line, a 38-yard punt, but of more import is the field position. The Falcons will start in the shadow of their own goalpost at their own 8-yard line. Looks like they'll spot it at the 9. Well,
Dylan Edwards, you mentioned his 3rd game back. So far in this game, he's 12 for 14 for 93 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, after last week, he went just 15 of 36. Did throw for 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, but he's only completing it a little over 40% a week ago. This a complete contrast. He's been very accurate against a very good Rustler defense here in this first half.
Yeah, whatever preparations they have set up in practice, so far has worked well in this game.
Meanwhile, another penalty against Cerritos. And this will back them up 4 yards. They'll start from inside their own 5.
That's not going to make the coaching staff happy.
No,
now you got the end zone right behind you.
Statistically, this is a departure from what we've seen this season, where the Falcons have been very good in terms of penalties.
You normally would see the Rustlers commit more penalties, but the Falcons are the one that are leading the penalties today.
Aldridge throwing on the right side, incomplete. Wanted to go back to Blair, who was working against Faulkner. 2nd down and 14 from inside the 4. Well, if the Rustlers can come up with a quick 3 and out here, they would figure to get very good field position. So this becomes a big series for both teams.
Well, this is very important for Cerritos as well, because you're near your end zone. Don't want to make a mistake or turnover that could lead to quick points.
Yeah, absolutely. No turnovers so far in the first half. Eldridge from his own end zone. Delayed handoff, good running room up the middle. This will get him a little bit of breathing room. Meanwhile, it's Medina still pushing the pile, and Medina going to have enough for the first down. That is good hard running from Cheo Medina, who's averaging a little bit under 7 yards a carry on the season.
And how about the athleticism and the energy he has to stay on his feet?
Yeah, able to break a tackle there from Josh Clark,
Takes a couple
and then
of rushes
push the
with him.
pile. Finally bringing him down, but not before Medina picks up 19 yards and a first down. And Cheo Medina is very familiar with this Rustler defense. He led the way last year in the matchup between these two teams with 19 carries in the Rustler win. And Eldridge pop flies for the far side. Blair was in the area, but it's a 2nd and 10 as that pass incomplete. Yeah, Medina 19 carries last year for just 50 yards, but that's not exactly a terrible performance against Golden West in most cases. Just putting 50 yards on the ground. 2nd down and 10. Well, the Falcons can not only give themselves a little bit of breathing room, but they can work the clock a little bit as well. Working their own end of the field on a 2nd and 10. Again, a delayed handoff. Hayes looking for a lane, but he's not going to find one.
Handoff is to Mike Hayes.
Brought down.
Gains 3.
Kane Elroy there quickly. No, excuse me, that was Josh Clark.
And we saw Mike Hayes on the last drive converting on 2 4th down conversions.
Yeah, third down. They're 3 of 8 so far here today. But again, that 2 big fourth down conversions critical in that touchdown drive. This a 3rd and 7 from the Cerritos 26. Straight drop for Eldridge. Good protection. Guns over the middle. Finds Porch, who has the first down. Another conversion. Cruz Wheeler wraps up Porch, but Porch having a big first half. Eldridge continues to deliver strikes, working behind very good protection up front. And he is picking apart this Rustler secondary.
Again, credit the front four or the front offensive line for giving the quarterback great protection, able to make the pass. And Porch so far 6 catches, 72 yards in his first half. He could possibly hit 100 receiving yards by halftime.
Yeah, both these teams do a good job of getting after the quarterback. Cerritos, in fact, 12th in the 3C2A as a team with 21 sacks, but Golden West not lagging too far behind as Medina is brought down for a loss of a couple on the play. Hudson Letterman, the sophomore linebacker, into the backfield to make the play. But Golden West, 17 sacks as a team over the first 7 weeks, so they've been good generating pressure as well, but not so much today.
And again, we see every time the Rustlers give up a big play, they send a message and counter on the next play.
Well, look, they are going to go after that running game. That has been a hallmark of a Nick Mitchell defense, is aggressively attacking that running game. That pass deflected at the line. It was looking for Blair, and now it's a 3rd and very long at 3rd and 13, a tough assignment for Eldridge and the Falcon offense.
Talk about that Nick Mitchell defense we just saw right there. A tip pass at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it looked like Daniel Viramontes, the standout defensive end, returning sophomore, getting a hand up.
Yeah, he put his hand up and said, nope, not in my house.
3rd down and 13. In some ways, no matter what happens here, the Falcons have been able to at least get something done. This drive started inside their own 10-yard line. They at least have a little bit of breathing room out to the 38. Deep drop for Eldridge. Looks short, completes to Grossfeld. He wants a flag called on Schumacher, but no flag coming as Schumacher came in a little bit high. Trying to bring down Grossfeld. Yeah, up around the head, and I got to tell you, it wouldn't have shocked me to see a penalty there, but no,
yeah,
none coming.
He actually got up and asking for a penalty marker. He felt that that was a penalty.
Yeah, and I want to correct myself. That was not Grossfeld. That was Owen Tomic, who made the reception. Got it to the 45. It brings up a 4th down. And with under 3 minutes to go as the clock moves, Guerra on to kick it away for Cerritos.
And very fortunate by the Rustlers that wasn't a penalty. That would have given Cerritos a 1st down.
Yeah, Jesse Schumacher, another returning sophomore in that linebacker core for Golden West. Meanwhile,
another penalty.
Yeah, I believe that was a delay of game. So they'll back it up 5 yards.
Wonder if there was a miscommunication on the special teams.
I mean, you have to figure that's not a call that you want to take. Big kick from Guerra. And backing up, Hideo Ray is going to take this back at his own 5-yard line. Looking for a block and still picking his way forward. He's forced out of bounds. A return of about 5 yards. He gets it to the 10, but that was a booming kick. 55 yards for Christian Guerra, who came in averaging just 38 yards a kick on the season. But last week, again, Guerra, a big performance in the win against Citrus, averaged 56 yards a punt a week ago in that win at Citrus, and he has picked up right where he left off there. That was a big kick.
It looks like he needed that extra 5 yards. He probably would have kicked in the end zone at the current spot before the penalty.
Yeah, and Hideo Ray, who handled that kick, another interesting story for Golden West. He is a guy who has really picked it up as the season has gone along, become more and more a part of this offense, and Nick Mitchell mentioning to us that he was actually out of football even for better than a year and has come back after that layoff not playing, and obviously had to shake off a little rust early in the season, but as the season has gone on, has become more and more of a weapon for this team offense in terms of offense, and obviously has really taken over in the return game as well.
Well, anytime you step away for a year or a season, it takes a while to get the body back in shape.
Yep.
You have to go through training and just getting the conditioning. So it takes a lot of work to come back after being off for a year.
Yeah, I asked Nick Mitchell to talk about a guy that maybe we didn't really get to talk about early in the season as Burns on the keeper. Gets it out to the 18. Who was one guy who maybe had really entered the fold that we didn't talk about early? First name he mentions, Hideo Ray. I wanted to talk about the way that he has stepped up and become a bigger part of the offense and certainly special teams as well.
Oh, and the referee got in the way of the tackle. Hopefully he's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in a tough spot there in the middle of that field, and you see that sometimes. Some big bodies working around you. Meanwhile,
you ever see the referee cameras and just how they get tackled down? It's a tough job. Like you said, especially if you're in the middle of the pile.
Yeah, it's scary there in the middle of the field. It's the 2-minute warning here from Huntington Beach. Golden West and Cerritos tied at 7 on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's a 3rd and 2 from the 18, and this becomes a very big play as well for the Rustlers, who are 2 of 4 on 3rd down so far in the game. But for the Rustlers, if you can pick up a first down here, you can maybe take a shot at moving the football down, but at least maybe take up the rest of the first half. And meanwhile, if you're Cerritos, if you can come up with a stop here, Ed, potential to get the ball back with some very good field position and enough time to put some points on the board here in the first half. Burns. Flushed from the pocket, able to break a couple of tackles. Burns has the first down and a lot more out to the 41-yard line. Finally brought down at the 42. Tracked down eventually by Montrell Mingo. But not before a 23-yard scamper for Burns, who continues to pile up the yardage week after week in the running game.
And we saw this last week against the Vikings. Always rode to his right. That's where all the big plays were coming, when he rose to his right. This play, he rode to his right, able to dodge tacklers and take off running and gets the first down.
Meanwhile, it appears that, it's Adrian Castro who was down, but able to get to his feet under his own power. So obviously that's always preliminarily a good sign, as Castro walking off on his own steam. The Rustlers now have it at the 42 after they convert that big 3rd down. Still plenty of time, 1:45 remaining here in the first half, and the Rustlers do have all 3 timeouts as well.
And Cerritos' offense has actually played well in this second quarter. When they came into the second quarter, they only had 3 first downs. They picked up 6 in the last 2 drives. Meanwhile, Golden West had about 4 first downs. They've only managed to pick up 5, but it's been a quiet offense by the Rustlers in the second quarter.
Well, once again, you have to ask yourself, where might the Rustlers be without the legs of Will Burns, who's up to 75 yards on the ground? Throws over the middle. Payne with his 3rd reception. Did the ball come out? Falcons are saying that it did. There's no indication on the field.
Looks like they're calling it an incomplete pass.
No, it looks, no, they're still spotting it. I think they're giving Payne the catch.
Okay, yeah, one official was saying incomplete.
Yeah, well, there's no question. That is a great angle. That's a fantastic job. Thank you, guys. That was a great view there, and it's clear that, that football came out, and they are going to reverse the call and call it incomplete. Maybe we can run that back one more time. That was a great angle, guys. And we were able to see that ball clearly came out, and I think it's a break for the Rustlers that they're going to call it incomplete.
Would have been a turnover for the Cerritos Falcons.
Well, let's see if he...
Well, I'm not sure if that was incomplete.
And meanwhile, a sack on Burns will make it 3rd and very long for Golden West. And
but good job.
It's so often hard to tell, but I'll tell you, that is arguable that could have been
a fumble.
A fumble, and that it was knocked out by E.J. Smith as Payne started to make a move with that football. Either way, the call is an incompletion. It was a loss on a handoff, setting up a 3rd and 12. Burns under pressure again. Wrapped up, now able to just get it away, and it's incomplete. He was looking downfield. Once again, that is great strength from Burns. Beck Walker was all the way down there. The pass well underthrown, but Burns does a great job to stay on his feet. It's a little shades of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yes.
Just tough to get him down. They had him wrapped up at one point, but
yeah, it's shades of Ben Roethlisberger and a little bit of Eli Manning from the Super Bowl. Gets away from the defenders.
I mean, Burns able to use that big body again, and that time able to stay upright, get that ball out rather than take the loss. And now Mancia will kick it away. Low kick, and this one off the side of the foot, it looked like, from Mancia. So with 42 seconds left, the Falcons, after a short kick, will come away with very good field position, and they'll have a chance to potentially grab the lead here late in the first half.
And Cerritos might go for a 2-for-1 because I believe they'll be getting the ball to start the second half.
No, Golden West won the toss, so they will have it first. They deferred.
But a perfect opportunity to get points before the half.
Yeah. They'll start from their own 44. That's the good news. If you're a Falcon fan, perhaps the bad news. Guerra's long on the season, just 32 yards, so you still figure that you have to go a good 40 yards, good 30 to 40 yards to really get in that range. Grossfeld with the reception will get out of bounds just into Rustler territory. The 7-yard completion moves it to the Golden West 49, where it'll be 2nd down and 3.
And that's Eldridge's 15th completion in the first half.
Yeah, 15 of 20, 122 yards and a touchdown. Again, no turnovers for either team here in the first half.
And Cerritos still has their 3 timeouts.
Down to 38 seconds. Looking for Porch and just squeezes it in at the 44. Good enough for a first down. Elijah Pitts was closing quickly on that football, thinking about a pick 6, and gets here
that could have
just
gone
a little late.
Either way. That could have gone either way.
Yeah. Another completion for Eldridge down to 23 seconds. They're at the 44. Eldridge fires on the far side. Nobody home. Don't know if he was on the same page. Blair streaking down the far side. And don't know if that was, perhaps he was thinking that Blair might break off his pattern, or if he was looking for Porch, who was also in the area. But either way, nobody particularly close. They lose 6 seconds. We're down to 17 seconds. And a 2nd down and 10 from the 44. But the clock is the big number right now at 17 seconds. Back to the same spot. Looking for Tomic, and it's incomplete. Now it's 3rd down from the 13. And again, as you pointed out, Ed, Cerritos does have all 3 timeouts, so you can still work the middle of the field, but they've got some distance to go to get to field goal range.
3rd and 10.
Might be at this point to start going towards the end zone. If they can get a first down, maybe you're looking at 2 plays to go to the end zone.
Yeah. 4-man rush, inside handoff, Hayes. Straight ahead, Soleil there at the 38. Down to 4 seconds. The clock still moving. Now the Falcons going to take 1 timeout. And they're not going to take the timeout. So that's interesting to me, Ed, that they didn't even want to perhaps stop the clock and take a shot at throwing the ball into the end zone. I'm not sure I really see the downside of taking that attempt, but
well, it looks like it is a close game. It's 7-7. They're happy where it's at.
Yep.
Perfect opportunity to make adjustments, come out, play strong in the second half.
Yeah, easy for me to say up here. There's always no pressure on me up here. Halftime from Golden West. We are tied at 7. Golden West and Cerritos. It's Rustler Football on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
A free food card. Behind your food card, it has the address where to redeem this card. You're gonna have 2 separate locations. The first location will be off Golden West and Warner. The second location will be on Beach Boulevard and McDonald.
I did want to let you guys know that the store on Beach Boulevard and McDonald will be closing at 5 o'clock today. We're super excited to be opening up our new location right next door on Monday, November 11th.
And who's ready to win? From Chick-fil-A. Woo! I need more.
Dominic!
Yes.
My name is Danny.
Thank you, Danny, for participating. Alrighty, ready? 1, 2, 3.
tied at 7 at the half. Golden West and Cerritos College. Jeff Stoynoff, Ed Rientasso back with you at Golden West College. And Ed, at the top, we talked about a big game for both of these teams for different reasons. The Falcons trying to run out the last two, get themselves back into the postseason after missing a year ago. Golden West making a playoff push here that starts today, certainly trying to stay relevant in the playoff discussion at the very top of the SCFA. So a lot on the line for both teams. A tie score at the half, and it's been an interesting matchup between two quarterbacks who've had very good first halves.
Yeah, absolutely. Both quarterbacks, I believe, they came out and performed well, helping their teams. It's a close game. You look at Will Burns for Golden West, have a quiet first half. He's 6 of 13 for 83 yards, but he's doing it with his legs. He's got 8 carries, 75 yards. His counterpart, Dylan Eldridge, he's had a great first half, 16 of 23, 127, 1 touchdown. The important thing about these both quarterbacks, no turnovers.
Yeah, Dylan Eldridge already has exceeded his completion total from a week ago here in the first half. He had 15 a week ago in the win for Cerritos, but he's already got 16. He's doing a very good job against this Rustler defense. One other interesting statistic that I think might be telling, you talked about 0 turnovers. You have the decided feeling there's going to be a big play in the second half by one of these defenses. Who is going to make perhaps the game-changing play? One other stat that caught my attention, time of possession, 18.5 minutes for Cerritos, just 11.5 for Golden West. Could that be telling if the Falcons can continue to control the football?
As long as Dylan Eldridge is out there, Cerritos can win this game. And I want to talk about Golden West real quick. This was the scenario they were in last week at Long Beach against the Vikings. It was 10-3 at the half. They came out in the second half. It was a heavyweight fight. They put up 21 points in the second half, and it came down to the defense. We mentioned it in the pregame show. It was the Jed Petty sack and fumble that pretty much sealed the deal. Now, I'm not saying that might happen here again, but I agree with you. There's going to be big plays in the second half. And I'm going to say the defense as well will make a big play in this game. Yeah,
the Rustlers, really, that's been their calling card for a number of years, really as long as Nick Mitchell has been here. That has been what they have done in so many big moments. Can they do it here in a game that they very much need to stay in the playoff hunt in all likelihood?
And that's what's great about football, especially the later half of the season here. Everything's being decided. Both of these teams trying to control their destiny. Only one can win in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, the Rustlers won the toss, deferred, so they'll have it first. Another good return down the far side, out near midfield. The Rustlers will start with very good position, field position, as Sarmiento, back to take the kick, is all the way out to the 48-yard line.
And we saw this in the first half. The Falcons had a great return. With the help of some penalties, they were able to get a touchdown on that drive. Here we see the Rustlers kicking off the second half with a big play on special teams. Can they lead this to a touchdown? We just have to wait and see as the offense comes back out to the field.
Yeah, Sarmiento, the leading receiver on the season for Golden West, but now gets involved in special teams. Had just 1 catch in the first half and took that big hit from Dozier back in the first quarter, but he's out there. He's battling. Had the 48-yard return. Burns on the play action. Wide open. Burdick has the first down. Down to the 25-yard line. 27 yards on that completion as Burns able to sell the fake and then find Burdick open over the middle.
I wonder if Will Burns is actually listening to us up here because we mentioned he had a quiet first half. He just came up big on that first play.
And tripping over his own feet, Thomas, who has had a rough afternoon so far with just 1 yard rushing in the first half. He's going to lose a couple here back to the 29-yard line. That's a loss of 4. It'll bring up a second down and 14.
And I wonder if there's any issues with the field condition down there. That's about the 3rd time we see a player slip in the game on the field.
Yeah, it's ordinarily really an immaculate condition here at Golden West, but yeah, we've seen a couple of players lose their footing. Burns on a designed roll, gonna keep it. Out to the 25, run out of bounds.
Will Burns with the quarterback keeper.
And the speed of Burns telling again. He gets all the way to the 18. That's a gain of 11 yards. Burns rapidly approaching that 100-yard mark. He went over it a week ago, and he's on his way to making it back-to-back 100-yard efforts on the ground.
And just as we see in the first half and last week, the right side of the field is his best friend. He rose to his right, turns on the jets and takes off running.
3rd down and 3 after the 11-yard run. Golden West 3 of 6 on 3rd down in the first half. Has the snap. They fake to Thomas. On the roll, and the throw is a little bit short. It was a sliding attempt. It's short of the first down anyway, as he was looking for Burke Mickelson, the tight end, and he makes the catch, does Mickelson, but only gets a yard, and this goes back to something we saw very briefly in the first quarter. That's a throw that Burns should be able to make, but really underthrows that football. Mickelson has to go down to get it. No chance for the first down, and instead we'll see Mancia and a field goal attempt of 34 yards.
Very surprising that they're not going to go for it here on the 4th and 2, but decided to go for the field goal and get the points.
It's interesting to me going back to that drive in the first quarter where we saw Burns struggle ever so slightly on a couple of throws. As we'll watch here from behind, Mancia from the right hash. Good snap. Placement down, kick on the way, and good for Mancia, who drills it from 34 yards to give Golden West the lead. But let's keep it here while they prepare the kickoff. And it looks to me as I watch that where Burns struggled on a couple of throws are on some of those shorter throws where maybe he's just pulling the string a little bit on it. When Will Burns can sort of step into a throw and deliver the football, the accuracy seems to go up. That was a fairly simple throw to Mickelson, but just a little bit of a pulling of the string, and the pass is offline, and Mickelson has no chance.
You know, the one thing I saw in that last throw, I think there was an issue with his footing. I'm not sure if he got the proper footing to make that throw, because it looked a little wobbly when he went left and then went right.
Yep.
So you wonder if there's any condition with the field, with the wind and the weather.
Well, you see it sometimes where there's an attempt to guide the football rather than throwing it. I have the feeling that when Burns can really just sit back and fire it about as hard as he can, that the accuracy is there. It looks like the throws that are giving him some more trouble are some of those short throws where maybe there's a tendency to want to guide the football. Either way, Mancia delivers on the field goal attempt and gives the Rustlers the lead early in the 3rd quarter. We're at 13 minutes to go in the 3rd, and Golden West now out in front once again, 10-7.
I got to tell you, this sounds like deja vu from last week.
Well, it's been a fun home schedule for Golden West this season, going all the way back to their first home game of the season. The pooch kick is taken out of bounds just shy of the 30. They'll spot it actually back at the 24. Not much of a return, but the Falcons will start from their own 24.
And, you know, Jeff, really quick, I want to talk about the Rustlers' home schedule. And, you know, just in case once the season's over and they start verifying, you know, rankings and positions. We know that they played San Diego Mesa this season and they lost 22-7. And that's still the question. The question will remain, will that loss affect them here as the season winds down?
Yeah, if it comes down to those two teams, which obviously a lot of football still to be played here today, tonight, across the state, next week, so a lot still to be decided. But right now there is a scenario where it very much can come down to Golden West and San Diego Mesa, and will that individual matchup between those two teams ultimately make the difference on who gets the call. But, of course, so much still to be decided. After a 2-yard run, it's a 2nd down and 8 from the 25. Eldridge back on with Hayes in the backfield, receivers left and right. And a little razzle-dazzle, and the ball is loose, and it looks like the Rustlers have it.
Talk about an opportunity by the defense. They just made a big play.
It's Andrew Jordan who comes away with the football. Well, they try to run the trick play, and the pitch from Hayes to Porch, and they're not on the same page. Porch never really had it. Jordan in the backfield is in the right spot.
A quick pitch. It looks like Porch wasn't ready for it, but what a costly mistake by Cerritos, and look where the ball is at, and now Golden West has an opportunity to put more points on the board.
Well, for those who might wonder from time to time, why don't we see more trick plays in football?
Well, that's one reason why.
Maybe there's an object lesson in some of the dangers.
But here's the lesson. You don't run those trick plays when you're near your own 20.
Yeah. They go to Mitchell on the 1st down carry. Following his left guard, might have got a couple.
And by the way, that goes to all those that play man and don't run those trick plays inside the 20.
Yeah, Rodney Holla there to finish off Mitchell. They'll give him a couple down to the 18, and if you're the Falcons in this situation, if you can hold it to a field goal, you keep it at one score here early in the third.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. You have to hold them to a field goal. A touchdown will truly change the momentum of the game.
Mitchell bouncing it to his left, able to stiff arm a man, now cuts it back. Mitchell still on his feet, inside the 10, has the first down. Good hard running from Aaron Mitchell, back in the lineup, battling that thigh bruise, but you wouldn't know it on that run, as he's able to shed the attempt from Vulu and get the first down, eventually brought down by Cassidy.
And you wonder with that injury, if he can go the distance. He hasn't really been on the field much the last couple of drives.
Yep.
You wonder how much of that injury is affecting him. He's still in there for right now.
It was E.J. Smith who had a shot at him, but Mitchell goes to the stiff arm. The fake from Burns and walks it in. That is outstanding execution on the play fake. And the defense follows the runner outside. Stays with Sarmiento. You can't execute a whole lot better than that, and Burns will never have it easier as he takes it in. His second rushing touchdown here today.
We haven't seen a lot of running plays by the Rustlers in the last few plays, or the holes closing really quick, but back-to-back plays, good job by the offense, and they got 6 on the board.
Yeah, we wondered when the turnover might be a factor in this one. It turns out it's early in the third as the Falcons cough it up in the red zone, and the Rustlers take full advantage with Burns running it in to give Golden West the 17-7 lead. 11:03 remaining in the third here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Quick 10 points on the board here in the third quarter for Golden West, and they have grabbed the 17-7 lead. And the Falcons, perhaps for the first time today, face a measure of adversity. And again, they go to the short kick, wanting to keep it away from Caldarella, it would seem, who's had a couple of very good returns for the Falcons. And instead, the Rustlers content to take away that return and give away some good field position.
Well, the Falcons' special teams is what's kept them in this game, kept the game close.
Yep.
Unfortunately, with the last possession, with the turnover now, Golden West was able to score 10 points in about less than 4 minutes.
Yeah, if you're looking for some good news, if you're a Cerritos fan, still plenty of time to go. We're just 11 minutes to go in the third quarter, and they have had some success moving the football, certainly. That pass intended for Porch, incomplete, working against Vallejo over on the far side, brings up a second down and 10. So you're far from having to push the panic button here if you're Cerritos, but now they find themselves down as much as they have been today. They're down 10.
Well, they're down 10, but there's still plenty of time. There's no need to hit the panic button right now. Just what the Falcons need to do, just go out there and do what they were doing, passing the ball, running it, getting first downs. Still a long way to go.
Cheo Medina in the backfield. They send Porch in motion on this 2nd and 10 play. Medina off tackle on the left side. A gain of a couple. And here's what becomes so difficult once the Rustlers get you down is they are so effective, Soleil and Jordan combining on the stop, at turning offenses into one-dimensional attacks.
We saw that last Saturday at Vet Stadium against the Vikings. You know, Coach Peabody wanted to run the ball, wanted to keep it even, but throughout the fourth quarter, that's when the Vikings started becoming a one-dimensional, and that's how the turnover occurred.
3rd down and 8 from the 37. Straight drop, Eldridge fires, completes to Blair, who takes a big hit but holds on to the football. Soleil there for the stop, but Blair with the catch out to the 46. We talked about Brandon Soleo, who is the leading tackler for Golden West this season. And Nick Mitchell said he has been something of a pleasant surprise. Said the truth of the matter is we didn't fully realize what we had here in Brandon Soleo at the start of the season, but he has just continued to make plays at that inside linebacker spot, has become a real leader on this defense. And Nick Mitchell saying to us that he's a little bit crazy. That's a good thing for a linebacker. And it always helps. But Soleo has been a pleasant surprise and an outstanding addition on this defense.
Is that a turnover?
Now, meanwhile, that catch appeared to be made, and the Rustlers are saying they have the football,
Look at
and
the
they
sideline. Look at the Rustlers sideline. Very excited. They're pumped up. They're fired up.
It looked like Blair had the catch. We'll have a look at this, and we'll get you down at field level. But Blair had the ball momentarily, but then that ball clearly came out. Excuse me, that was back to Tomic.
Oh, it went off his hands.
Of Tomic and intercepted. So Tomic juggles, and it's Faulkner who makes the interception, getting back into that play. That's great concentration by Faulkner as that ball comes off the hands of Tomic.
Tomic had it there, Jeff, just went off his hands. And just talk about a perfect opportunity by the defense.
Yeah, Faulkner steps into a slightly larger role with the absence of freshman standout Quincy Hankins at the quarterback spot here today for Golden West. So Faulkner who has been playing this season, but it's a very crowded defensive backfield for Golden West, but steps into a little bit bigger role. Hankins out with a hamstring injury here today, and Nick Mitchell mentions Faulkner specifically.
Talk about Faulkner, he's a Christmas present right there. He got an interception.
Yeah, with December coming up. Burns on the run and strung out and forced out of bounds. Flags are down.
Like
so we'll see if some yardage is coming back. But getting back to talking about Faulkner, Hankins is a spectacular playmaker. Freshman talent for Golden West here this season. Said with Hankins out, who is the next guy who maybe has that kind of playmaking ability, who might come up with a big play in that defensive secondary? Nick Mitchell mentions Drew Faulkner. Says that is a guy who has some of that same dynamic to his game as a guy who just has a way of making plays. And there he is, right place, right time to make a big play with that interception.
And those that doubt that, I would really recommend go back to the replay and see how he was able to take advantage of that play.
Another freshman, second turnover here in the third quarter. We were pretty sure that turnovers were going to tell a story here in the second half after there were none in the first half. Burns under pressure, still on his feet. Now we'll just have to scramble and get out of bounds, but it's going to leave a third and forever. Great job downfield in coverage by the Falcons and nowhere for Burns to go with the football.
I'll tell you, look at Will Burns. I wonder if he's got the brains of Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, because he saw the pressure. He just kept getting away, just trying to find something, but he got away from the tacklers. And
Smith, Tomczyk eventually running him out of bounds, and it is just a nightmare to get him down, to wrap him up and get him down. Does manage to pick up 4 yards. 3rd and 17, so a chance for the Falcons to get the football back. Setting up the screen and some running room as Nelson still on his feet down the far side near the first down marker. Where did he go out of bounds? It looks like he might have been a couple of yards shy at the Falcon 45. It's great execution as they find Trey Nelson, who had a big game a week ago with a couple of touchdown receptions.
He had some great plays last week against the Vikings, made crucial catches, big yardage, and just at the right time was able to come out and looked like he had the first down, but it looks like they're going to mark him short.
Yeah, he stepped out of bounds about a yard shy. It's a 4th and 1 from the 45. Golden West 6 of 12 on 4th down on the season.
Make that 7 of 13.
Burns falling forward, appears to have enough for the first down.
And one thing I've noticed so far in the game, Coach Mitchell likes to switch quarterbacks every now and then to give their quarterbacks some playing time. Last week it was mostly Will Burns. About 98% of the plays he was out there. And so far today, same thing.
Yep.
He's out there since the beginning of the game, so I wonder if maybe there's been an adjustment change as far as the quarterback, where he wants to keep him out there.
This season, it looks like we've seen mostly Burns. We've seen Camden Stigler in some stretches.
Yes.
But going back to last season, certainly, it was a lot of rotation week after week, and more than one quarterback seeing significant time.
It's very surprising within the last 2 games that Will Burns is out there almost 100% of the time.
Yeah, we haven't seen as much of Stigler. Running room for Thomas, who appears to be close to the first down marker. Down to the 34, looks to be about a foot shy of the first down.
Thomas turns on the Jets on that play, and again, credit the offensive line for leaving them opportunity to take off. And they got these Cerritos defense in the corner of the ring. They're getting tired out there.
Davion Jordan eventually with the stop. It's second and less than a yard, so a lot of options. Thomas finding some running room really for the first time today. That had to be a welcome sight.
The Falcons need to do something on defense, otherwise it might turn open.
Thomas makes a little move in the backfield, finds a lane, has the first down. A pickup of a couple of yards will move the chains. Well, the Falcon defense shouldn't be particularly fatigued. Again, the Falcons really dominated time of possession in the first half, but it's been the Rustler offense, thanks to a couple of turnovers, that has really turned the tables here in the third quarter.
Well, we're almost midway through the third quarter, or actually almost basically midway through the third quarter, and the Falcons defense have been out there now twice.
Yep. Hideo Ray on in motion. Read option. And looking to throw it out to Ray, and that was a dangerous pass over on the far sideline. That's a pass that could have easily been behind the line of scrimmage, or a backwards pass, but the ball out of bounds and the incompletion. Should look there. That's very close.
Yeah, I tried to throw it at the last second.
So it brings up a second down and 10 from the 32, or I should say, okay, now they are going to say that it was a backwards pass, so that'll be a loss of a couple.
Ooh.
And a break for the Rustlers that the ball managed to get out of bounds, but either way, they still lose a couple of yards. And it's a 2nd and 12. Walker in the backfield. Play action. Burns throws on the move, has a man wide open, finds Sarmiento. Sarmiento with a little move at the 10, brought down inside the 5. This is a well-designed play, Ed.
And again, Will Burns to his right. That's where he executes most of his plays, and Sarmiento doing a good job giving his quarterback an alert saying he's wide open, and again, big yardage.
And they want to move quickly. There is a flag down as we bring you back live. Well, I believe this is going to be the replay from just moments ago from inside the 5, going back to Burns, and why not? So Burns was able to get in. The flag against Cerritos, that'll be declined, and the Rustlers have really taken control here in the third quarter on the 3rd rushing touchdown here today for Will Burns. They now lead at 23-7, just under 5 minutes to go in the third. Well, after the big play from Sarmiento, they wanted to move quickly. As you talked about earlier in the drive, it was a Falcon defense perhaps starting to become fatigued, certainly on their heels. And the Rustlers, sensing the opportunity, got to the line very quickly, well inside the 5. Burns plunges in from a yard out. And now with the Mancia extra point, it's 24-7. And it's a great response from a Rustler team that comes in at 6-1 after a tight first half. Now up big here, 24-7.
A lot of 17 unanswered by the Golden West Rustlers, and now the Falcons are in a position where you may want to have to start going one-dimensional just to cut into this and get back in this game.
Well, I think, again, if you're Cerritos and you're looking for something in terms of good news here, that is if there is one way that teams, it would seem, have been able to attack Golden West, it has been through the air. We saw Jet Petty last week throw for 413 yards. In the 7-point loss for Long Beach at home against Golden West. So maybe there's a chance here for Eldridge to attack this Rustler defense through the air. But now they've really got some work to do, down 17.
Well, they have to stay out there for the remainder of this third quarter because the defense has been out there longer. They got to give their defense some breathing room. be out there, execute some plays, at least try to get a score to get that defense fired up and, make some stops.
And we talked about Burns in the first half. He's now 10 of 17 for 160 yards, but what strikes me, Ed, is the big completion to Burdick on the one scoring drive, that time a big completion to Sarmiento. An adjustment offensively, I think, to look more downfield and attack this Falcon defense here in the third quarter. We could talk about the turnovers, but I think that has also been a big adjustment made by the Rustlers to go a little more vertical against this Falcon defense.
Well, whatever adjustments were made at halftime between Coach Mitchell, Will Burns, and his receivers, so far in this second half, it's worked. Receivers are getting open. They're making big plays, and while a penalty on the Rustlers.
So the Rustlers
they really
will lose
cleaned
some
up.
yardage. Sorry.
They really cleaned up the penalties in this game after last week.
And we do have a change at quarterback for Cerritos. So they're going to go away from Eldridge, and they'll come in with Evan Tomich, who has seen obviously a lot of action this season with the injury to Dylan Eldridge. And you wonder if this isn't an injury situation perhaps to Eldridge as well, as Tomich will go to the ground on first down and not much doing. Lucky to get back to the line is Kaysen. So the numbers on Tomich coming in, averaging, completing 53% of his passes, 1,175 yards, 12 touchdowns against just 5 interceptions. So the freshman has played well. Insignificant duty, especially again with Eldridge out with an injury for the first 5 games on the schedule.
When you talk about Dylan Eldridge, I mean, he's played well in his first half, in this game, 17, 26, 126, 136 touchdown, but he had that costly interception.
Off the hands of Porch and incomplete, and quickly it's 3rd and 13 in a tough spot for the freshman quarterback, Evan Tomich.
And I'm actually looking at the Falcons sideline. I see Eldridge. He has his helmet on, and he's actually on the sideline, so there's no sense of an injury problem. But you wonder if this is a switch permanently or just to, pull him out for a series to, say, hey, let's get back out there and focus.
Certainly.
Very scenario, turn of events.
The 2 turnovers here in the third quarter. And that ball is still loose. Now the flags come in. That was a strange play where the ball appeared to not really come out cleanly on the snap. But it took that extra beat before we saw the whistles come in. And now they'll sort it out. But going back to the 2 turnovers, it appeared that one was obviously on the trick play attempt, and the other one off the hands of a receiver and into the hands of Drew Faulkner. It would be hard to imagine putting either of those really at the feet of Dylan Eldridge, the quarterback.
Yeah, you can't really put that on him. It wasn't really his fault. The first one was the razzle-dazzle play. The receiver wasn't ready, and then the second turnover was off the receiver's hand, so you can't really put that on his shoulders.
Blitz coming. Tomich stepping up. Gonna tuck it and run, but he's dragged down shy of the first down. It was a 3rd and 18. He got back about 6 yards, and we'll see the punting unit. And yeah, I mean, obviously we could speculate up here, and there's any number of possibilities for why the change was made, but either way they go to Tomich, but it's a quick 3 and out. So the change of pace not particularly working for the Falcons on that drive, as they'll have to give it up almost immediately. And the Rustlers here late in the third will get it back with the sizable lead. It's 24-7.
The question will be if this change will be permanent for the game or it was just for that one drive.
Yeah. This one takes a good Falcon bounce. They'll get some extra yardage down to the 18. Another good kick for Guerra, 48 yards with no return. And the Rustlers now, with 3:13 remaining in the third quarter, will go back on offense in a somewhat unfamiliar position here today, protecting a decent-sized lead.
With the momentum shift right now to the Rustlers, you wonder if this is an opportunity for Golden West to go for the early knockout. The offense has been red hot these last 2 possessions.
Yeah, outside of Burns, it has been a struggle to run the football today.
We've seen a little bit of it in the last drive where they opened up holes and Will Burns got in the end zone. So it's been a good job by Golden West to keep it even, not go one-dimensional.
Yeah, they've had 126 yards on the ground, but 90 of those have come courtesy of Burns. Mitchell able to pick it off the turf and gain 5 yards out to the 25, call it 6. And that'll bring up a 2nd down and 4. And again, you know, it's fascinating watching Will Burns because that was another fairly short throw where Burns appeared to struggle. Mitchell really bailed him out there, going down and making that catch off the shoe tops. They go to the ground with Mitchell, who takes a big hit near the 1st down marker.
Yeah, you wonder if there's a problem when it comes to the short passing for Will Burns. Because, again, it is the 2nd time that we've seen that.
Exodus Allo planting Mitchell on the turf, but Mitchell needed 4 yards. He got 4, and the Rustlers get the defense. Yeah, it's striking to watch, especially when you think about a couple of other throws in the 3rd quarter where Burns has been on the move, set up in the pocket, throwing the ball deep downfield, and those passes have been absolutely on the money.
Like that one.
Right. Complete to Burdick once again, another 1st down out near midfield. 19 yards for Burdick.
19-yard gain.
3rd catch for Burdick here today.
And so far, Burns is 11 of 18 for 167. Doing it with his legs. 14 carries, 90 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a great performance, somewhat overshadowed by the gaudy numbers of Jet Petty. But Burns himself had just under 400 yards, 390 yards combined, passing and rushing in that win for Golden West.
And he had a quiet first half last week, but just like in the 2nd half of last week, he's coming out strong. But this time it's more with his legs instead of his arms.
2nd down and 8 from midfield. Rustlers looking as though they've got a chance to run out the 3rd quarter here with the football. Blitz coming. Burns flushed from the pocket. Finds some running room outside. Smith will force him out of bounds. It'll come down to the spot. He's a couple of yards shy at the Cerritos 44. It'll leave a 3rd down and 2. Golden West 3 of 8 on 3rd down here today. Cerritos, for their part, had been very good defending on 3rd down on the season. Opposing offenses converting at just 34% against the Falcons on 3rd down for the season. This a 3rd and 2 from the 44. Quick pitch outside. Thomas has the 1st down, breaks 1 tackle, and then drives forward inside the 40 down to the 37. A 7-yard run. Good hard running from Kendrick Thomas. Again, out there working against Smith, able to shed Smith before Tomczyk eventually able to wrestle him down, but Thomas converts on 3rd down, gets it to the Falcon 36. The Rustlers don't have to run another play here in the 3rd quarter, and it looks like they won't. We're through 3.
A very impressive 3rd quarter by Golden West. It was 7-7 coming out of the half, and Golden West put up the big plays, and now they're up 24-7, an opportunity to put the final nail in the coffin, as they would say.
Yeah, taking advantage of a couple of turnovers through 3. The Rustlers on top 24-7. It's Golden West College football here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Start of the 4th quarter. Rustlers working on a 4-game win streak and have given themselves a little breathing room here as they enter the 4th, trying to move it to 7-1 on the season, attempting to stay unbeaten
and in
the National Central. Straight drop. Burns, good protection. Now throws on the move and
Nice
finds
catch.
Sarmiento. The coverage was good initially, but Burns with time able to scan and eventually find Sarmiento. And going back to a theme of what we've been talking about today, how about this throw, Ed? Moving to his left, throws angling to the side and finds Sarmiento in the pass. Very accurate. Meanwhile, the read option and Burns caught in the backfield for one of the rare times today by Rodney Holla. And Holla into the backfield, pushes it back to the 21. That's a loss of 5, brings up a 2nd down and 15.
Yeah, exactly. One of the rare mistakes so far by the Rustlers offense, giving up a sack, and a rare sack given there. And what a great catch, though, the last play by Sarmiento.
Yeah, Sarmiento, you've got to be so impressed. Absolutely fearless, working over the middle, going back to that big hit he took in the first quarter. And we marveled at the way he popped up after taking that big hit. Showed a lot of toughness. Play action, the throw. Incomplete. Good job knocked away by Jordan on the coverage as Burns was looking for Kieran Klingsberg.
Jordan did a good job staying with the receiver, able to deflect the pass. Now he's a 3rd down.
Ineligible down offense. 5-yard penalty. That penalty is declined. Result 3rd down.
Meanwhile, it's against the Rustlers, an ineligible man downfield.
Rustlers with the flag. Should say, sorry, the Rustlers penalty against them, but
That's the first penalty.
it looks like it's, is it going to be declined?
I believe the
yeah, with the
referee said
pass being
decline.
incomplete, they are. Okay, so that's the word we're getting. So now it's 3rd and 16 from the 21. For the Rustlers, receivers left and right. Burns setting up the screen, finds Sarmiento, tries to spin out of a tackle, and he'll get about 5 yards back to the 16. It'll make it a slightly easier attempt for Fernando Mancia, who's already hit from 34 yards today. This would be a 33-yard attempt. It'll come from the right hash.
And the Falcons defense was able to prevail another touchdown drive. Now the Rustlers have an opportunity to go for 3.
So Mancia will line this one up, looking to extend on the lead. Good snap placement down, the kick away, and Mancia delivers. So Fernando Mancia connects from 33 yards, pushes the lead to 27-7, and the Rustlers now with 20 unanswered in the second half. 13:04 to go in the 4th. Golden West on top. It's Rustler Football on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Well, it's been a somewhat deflating second half, I'm sure, for the Falcons on that sideline. After playing an outstanding first half, they went into the locker room tied at 7. They've been undone a little bit by a couple of turnovers here in the 3rd quarter, and the Rustlers have pulled away here as they lead at 27-7 early in the 4th.
And very impressive by the Rustlers. No turnovers today.
Yep.
So
well,
whatever,
it figured to be a potential storyline. The Falcons on the season -4 turnover differential. The Rustlers, for their part, +4 turnovers for the season. And the Falcons were able to dodge that particular bullet in the first half. Another good wedge for Caldarella, who slips out of a tackle. Now makes a little move at the 40. Still on his feet as he is finally brought down shy of the 45. And the Falcons, who have done very well all season in terms of kick returns, continue to do so today. They'll have good field position, but now with a long uphill climb, down 20.
You know, if you take away those 2 turnovers, this would still be almost a 1-possession game.
Yep. And Eldridge now has returned. Pumps, now throws an incomplete. Looking for Blair, who had it momentarily. Excuse me, that's not Blair. Correct myself, that is Jalen Baker, sophomore tight end, who couldn't secure it. Brings up a 2nd down and 10, so partially mystery solved there. It appears that wanted to go with Tomic, it would appear, for a series. And now back to Eldridge. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. And whistles on the snap. Rustlers pointing the Falcons' way, and it is indeed a false start. Move it back to 2nd and 15. And penalties did figure to be another storyline, with Golden West averaging a full 5 more penalties per game on the season versus Cerritos. But it's been the other way around, with Cerritos actually having been penalized 8 times to just 6 for Golden West.
And it clearly shows how much penalties can really hurt a team. It's hurt the Falcons so far this afternoon.
4-man rush, good protection for Eldridge, who will air it out looking for Blair. Blair goes up high, but incomplete. Good coverage working against Faulkner. And not much room. You see Blair, that's a great job to nearly come down with that football, but can't quite do it. Brings up a 3rd down and 15. And the Falcons staring at the possibility of another quick 3 and out.
You wonder now if it's 4th down territory, if they'll go for it.
Well, they're going to have to make it a little more manageable than a 3rd and 15, one would assume. Blitz coming. Eldridge finds Blair. Blair able to slip out of 1 tackle, now out of another tackle, but he's brought down just shy of the 1st down marker.
Blair, again, a good job of avoiding tacklers, getting more yardage. And
yeah, it was eventually Manaya Ala who was able to finally wrap him up, and it becomes a much more manageable 4th down and 3. So the first mission accomplished for the Falcons, and it appears that they will line up to go for it here on a 4th and 3 from midfield. Falcons are 2 of 2 on 4th down today.
Cerritos had to convert. This could be the game in the season right here.
Straight drop for Eldridge. Throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. Hard to know if he was looking for Blair or possibly for Jalen Baker. But either way, Blair unable to secure it. And the Falcons, I think he was looking for Blair. Yeah, look at Faulkner there, I think, thinking about the possibility of having interception number 2 on the day. But it all works out for the Rustlers anyway, as Blair can't come up with it. The Falcons unable to convert on 4th down. Rustlers back on offense at midfield.
And Burns is still coming out with the offense, Jeff. Looks like they're looking to get the knockout punch on his drive.
Well, they'll have a relatively short field. 1st down carry for Beck Walker. Runs into a wall after a gain of about a yard. Leroy Palu among the first to get there. The Falcons trying to claim that they have the football, but they are going to whistle that play dead. Walker will get a yard, bring up a 2nd down and 9.
Will Burns so far in this game, 14 of 22 for 213. Still trying to get 100 yards rushing. He's at 16 carries, 90 yards.
Yeah, it seemed as though he was a lock based on the first half. On the roll. Going to run it here, but he'll slide down after a gain of just a couple. Sliding in front of safety Ryan Tualu. Leaves a 3rd down and 8. They'll give him just a yard. Of course, the Rustlers certainly have the luxury in this situation of being able to be very conservative here. In the worst case scenario, you can bring Mancia out and potentially put the Falcons deep in their own territory, make them go the length of the field, and that has not been an easy task against the Rustler defense at any point this season.
Especially in the second half, Cerritos has struggled on offense against this Rustlers defense.
Setting up the screen once again. Ray with the first down and more. Ray in a foot race now, looking for the end zone. He's going to get there. Hideo Ray.
There it is.
48 yards.
The short passes, what's been struggling with Will Burns so far this afternoon. Finally able to complete a screen pass very executionally. Look at his blockers going down the field with him. And again, open field. No one within maybe a yard or two close to him, but by the time they get close to him, he's already in the end zone.
He had Wesley Hauk out in front, but it was really the foot race with Jalen Dozier, and Ray able to win it. Takes it to the house, 48 yards for the touchdown, and the Rustlers now starting to make something of a statement here in the second half. After a 7-7 first half, they have dominated the action in all phases, and with 10:23 remaining in the ballgame, it's 34-7 Golden West. .23 remaining in the ballgame. You see a couple of angles on the screen pass to Hideo Ray that turns into the 48-yard touchdown. A couple of other games going on of note in the National South. Saddleback at Fullerton, they're in the third with the Bobcats on top 27-24. Bobcats have been trailing a close second behind Riverside in that National Southern for much of this season, but now the Tigers have put a little bit of distance entering the final couple weeks. But still, it's been a nice bounce-back season down in Mission Viejo for the Bobcats, I should say, and they lead it by 3. Meanwhile, in the National North, they're in the fourth. Bakersfield on top of College of the Canyons, 24-21.
Close game down there.
Yeah, Renegades already with a win last week at home against Ventura at the top of that National North, now trying to take out another of those teams battling at the top of the National North and make their own statement.
How
as
about
they have traveled to Santa Clarita and lead 24-21. Eldridge hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete.
How about Riverside, 15-point lead on San Diego Mesa. It's still in the first half.
Yeah, it's a big matchup in the South, and the Tigers really looking to secure their spot in the playoffs. They'll go a long way toward doing that if they can knock off San Diego Mesa entering into the final week. Meanwhile, Tomich is back at quarterback for Eldridge, but that's certainly one to watch. Mesa trying to keep pace with the Tigers, but the Tigers with the 15-point lead. Tomich pumps, now throws, and completes for a first down.
Keep in mind, it was Mesa that came in here earlier this season and beat the Rustlers 22-7.
Yeah, absolutely. They have had a great season under head coach Gary Watkins. Denez Maxey with the reception out to the 48. And that a rare highlight in this second half for the Falcons. Tomich looking and throws and completes. Going back to Blair, but a gain of just a couple.
And, you wonder now with the score and about time remaining left in the game, if this is going to be for the game, if Tomich will stay in there.
Yeah, certainly at this point, it would take something beyond dramatic for the Falcons to really even get themselves all the way back into this one, as Tomich looking deep down the near side and the pass incomplete. Looking for Chase Grosfeld. It's a 3rd down and 7 from the Golden West 49 with 9:20 remaining.
And speaking of the remaining schedule after today, the Rustlers will finish off on the road next Saturday at Mount Sac.
And that becomes a monster matchup that will, in all likelihood, decide the National Central.
You think
And meanwhile, Tomic hit and sacked.
You wonder if the Rustlers are going to watch that game later on between Mount Sac and Long Beach.
It was Christian Patero, incidentally, coming on the blitz, who was able to get the sack on Tomic. And Patero, another interesting case. He's a returning sophomore for the Rustlers who really bounced back and forth between linebacker and safety a season ago for Nick Mitchell. But this season, they have made the move. Patero a little more natural at that linebacker spot and has really taken to the role. One of the leading tacklers for the Rustlers here as a sophomore this season, and that time he comes and gets the sack on the third down pass attempt, and the Rustlers will get the football back midway through the fourth quarter. But yeah, looking ahead now to next week, and if the Riverside score were to hold, it becomes a situation where the Rustlers, it would seem, if they cannot get the win at Mount Sac, very much it could come down to them and San Diego Mesa for that coveted wild card spot, that fourth playoff spot, along with the 3 conference champions.
There's going to be a lot of scenarios between now and next Saturday, but the one thing you got to do is just win.
Well, I know your guys at Long Beach City College that you cover on a weekly basis. They want to be part of this conversation as well. They're 4-1 in the Central, so they still have something of a scenario to perhaps get themselves into the fray as well, but looking at another postseason appearance under head coach Brett Peabody.
I'll say this. If the Vikings can beat Mount Sac, it'll be a very interesting scenario between Golden West and Mount Sac next Saturday.
Yeah, that's a matchup still to happen tonight, and expect the Vikings to come into that game with a lot of confidence. They are a fearless team. They know they can play with anybody, and they're not going there just thinking, hey, we're going to go there and try and make this into a game.
They want to go in there and they want to win, send a message.
Yep.
We saw last week they went head-to-head with the Rustlers. It was a heavyweight fight in the second half, no doubt about that. They can play with anybody.
Yeah, can anybody beat Mount Sac this year? Still undefeated right now and looking dominating, really, week after week. We shall see. Meanwhile, the carry outside going nowhere. This is going to be a big loss on the play. Getting into the backfield quickly again, Rodney Holla, who's been very active coming on here in the second half, and makes another big play. A loss of 5 brings up a second down and 15. Not much chance for Kalen Montgomery, the freshman running back, on that carry. We are coming up on exactly midway through the fourth quarter, but that'll be an interesting game to watch tonight. The Vikings certainly have the kind of talent that it takes to come in and pull an upset, but right now the Mounties still undefeated on the season, and the Rustlers, assuming again that this score holds, will have their shot with a conference championship on the line when they travel to Walnut next week.
And last season, Jeff, we thought we were here when Mount Sac was here against the Rustlers. Mount Sac showed they were dominant in their victory here at Golden West last season.
Some confusion in the backfield as a collision between Stigler and Montgomery, and not much chance for Camden Stigler, who has come on to replace Burns. And yeah, you could see there very quickly on the replay, not on the same page. Stigler heading left, Montgomery heading right.
Saw a little extra activity between two players down there.
Yeah, this one's been relatively clean between these two teams.
Looks like the frustration on the Cerritos sideline is starting to mount in.
Well, this has certainly been a disappointing second half, to be sure. Again, going back to halftime, it was tied at 7, and there was ample reason to believe, if you were the Falcons, that they were in position to come here and maybe get away with a win and keep your season alive thinking about the postseason.
And you look at halftime, it was 7-7.
Yep.
And now in the fourth quarter, like the second half, they've outscored Cerritos 27-0. It just shows when you give Golden West opportunities, even at home, they can put up points very quickly. We've seen that all season, except the San Diego game. Golden West has put up over 40 points here at home.
And one thing that might be so easy to overlook in this scenario is you look back at the season that the Falcons have had. Yes, you see a record of 3-4 on the season, as Stigler running right, finds a lane with a head of steam and pushing the pile. He's near the first down marker. Good run from Camden Stigler for about 14 yards on a 3rd and 15. He comes up about a yard shy, and we should see Mancini in the punting unit. But look at the Cerritos season that they've had. A loss at San Diego Mesa, just 12-8. That was a game decided in the last minute in a win for San Diego Mesa. Next week at home, a loss of just 7 points, taking on Ventura, a team battling for another appearance in the playoffs under Steve Mushagian, one of the top programs year after year. A loss at home to Long Beach City, a team looking like they're going to make another postseason appearance. That just 8 points. All these games one-score games.
And that Viking, it went to overtime too.
Yep. So really only one team has been able to overmatch the Falcons this season. That Mount Sac, a win for Mount Sac, 61-14, I should say. But the other 3 losses by 1 score.
It just shows that they're close. They've been in every game except that one game you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's very heartbreaking, especially when you lose close games.
And getting back to the point that I think I wanted to make at the start of all this, which is, again, you look at this score, and it becomes a little bit more impressive when you talk about this is really only the second team that's been able to get this kind of win against the Falcons on the season.
It just
so
shows
certainly
a
compliment to Nick Mitchell and this Rustler team and the season that they've had, that they've been able to pull away here in the second half.
But you mentioned about Cerritos, they were without their quarterback. You wonder now, had the role been different if he was in there? Would have been a different team, would have been a different scenario, would the records be different?
Yep.
It's one of those things that usually happens every season when a star player goes down. I mean, we look at in the pros, we looked at last year when with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, everyone wondered what would have happened if he didn't get hurt.
Yep.
And this season, he's just struggling.
Read option, Stiegler again. And you could see the ability. We've talked about Burns running the football, but Stiegler obviously an outstanding runner from that quarterback spot himself. And you could see the speed. As again, he follows the interior of that line, working behind Atuatasi and Samita up front. Finds good running room for a first down. And speaking of injuries, we haven't had much chance to talk about it, but again, Cavante Henry not available, it would appear, today for Cerritos. And that is instructive and certainly something to talk about. In our conversation with Nick Mitchell, he mentioned Cavante Henry no less than 3 times in a short conversation, talking about how impressed he was with his ability to make plays on that defensive line, and said he is a guy that we have to find. We do know there's a chance he's not going to be available tomorrow, so if that's the case, that's, again, I'll speak for Nick Mitchell, that's probably a boon for the Rustlers. But either way, he was very concerned about what Cavante Henry could do on that defensive line. He was obviously unable to go today. A loss of a yard brings up a 2nd down and 11. And we laid out what's coming up next for the Rustlers. They are back next week at Mount San Antonio College. Meanwhile, for Cerritos, they're back at home. Next week, they'll take on East Los Angeles College to finish out their season. Well, Burns didn't get to 100 yards, but if you factor in Stiegler, the quarterback position got to 100-plus for the Rustlers on the ground.
You wonder if those 2 quarterbacks actually have contests and practice to see who runs better. They almost look the same out there.
Well, it's interesting. We talked to Nick Mitchell again and talked about the change at quarterback for Cerritos and said that obviously it had been Evan Tomich for much of the season, but Eldridge returned a couple of weeks ago. And did that factor into how they get ready and how they prepare? And Nick Mitchell pointing out said, well, it's probably going to be the same offense either way between the 2 quarterbacks. So you're really still getting ready for the same thing between the 2 quarterbacks. And I think you see a little bit of that with Burns and Stiegler, both with the ability to run the football, but both also running the same offense. Stiegler's pass incomplete. We're under 3 minutes to go. Wrapping up another regular season of our coverage of Golden West College football here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Really enjoyed the association once again. It's been great working with you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been great working with you, too. Also want to give a shout-out to Mike Cepeda. Want to give him a big thanks for allowing me to come back this season, work with you guys.
Our executive producer, Mike Cepeda. Today's broadcast directed by Matt Tyndall. Of course, our entire team here at SoCalCollegeSports.com. Done a phenomenal job again this season. Another big collision. Stiegler, now they will help him up. He's near the first down marker, but going to come up a little bit shy on the 4th down carry, so they'll give it back to the Falcons with 2:36 to go, and the Rustlers closing in on the win.
And now it's time to see what the Rustlers can do going into this week's practice. It may be the most important week of practice for their program of the season, going into that big showdown next Saturday.
Andre Lampley becomes the third quarterback of the afternoon for the Falcons. Again, keeping an eye. Saddleback has increased the lead at Fullerton late in the third, leading at 33-24. Bakersfield and Canyons, they're in the fourth. That one also on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Tied at 24. And heading to halftime, Riverside on top of San Diego Mesa, 28-13. Of course, a full slate across the state. Pass from Lampley incomplete, looking for Porch, who appeared to have some room. Bring up a third down quickly, 3rd and 10. Andre Lampley, 6'3", 230-pound sophomore out of St. John Bosco. And now we're saying that it was Lampley just for a moment, and now we've gone back to Eldridge. So just that quickly. They're back to Eldridge on a 3rd and 10. The pass complete for a first down.
It's very interesting. They're going on a quarterback, razzle-dazzle in these last 2 minutes of the game.
Yes, Saxon Va'a with the reception to the 45 of Golden West and takes us to the 2-minute warning. 34-7 Golden West on top. It's Rustler football on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Hey, John, was 2 minutes remaining in this one, and Rustlers with a big second half and pulled away for the 34-7 lead. Eldridge with the play action. Throws incomplete. Blair, the intended target. And, of course, for those that have followed Golden West College football here with us, assuming that the Rustlers have another home playoff date, we will be here for that. So season not necessarily over. We'll have to wait and see how the postseason shakes out and where the Rustlers
and I think that'll
will be playing.
The interesting part.
Yep. Take heart. If they're here, we'll be here.
We'll be here.
And we'll have it for you. I'm prepared to offer that now. Eldridge hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete. The coverage very good downfield. Brings up a 3rd and 10. Of course, I don't want to speak for Athletics Director Tim Bremen, but we'll see. My confidence is high that if there is another postseason game here in Huntington Beach, we will be here.
It looks like Andre Lampley, number 14, is back in for Cerritos.
Well, I don't want to get attached. He was there. I wanted to talk about him. And just like that, then it was back to Eldridge, but it is Lampley.
Well, Evan Thomas is the freshman quarterback on this roster. You wonder, will he play next week to give him that, time to learn the system going into next season?
Yes, complete to Kaysen, but not much doing. Kaysen did well just to get back to the line, and now it brings up a 4th down. They'll give Kaysen about a yard, so it's a 4th and 9. Yeah, so much can happen, and you often see that. You look and you see Tomic maybe as a freshman, and you think, okay, probably the inside track, but so often players will go into the portal, look at their options, maybe make a move, go to another school. You see that more and more. So next season is next season, and we'll see what happens. But certainly Tomic gained a great deal of experience. Lampley guns over the middle, incomplete. Overshoots his target. He was looking for Denez Maxey. And the pass incomplete, and now the Rustlers can come on, kneel it down a couple times, and get out of here with another win, their 5th straight, and they'll move to 7-1 on the season. But it'll be interesting to see, obviously, if they can get Tomic back. Gained a wealth of experience as a freshman, and we have seen so often those quarterbacks that are able to make that adjustment in that freshman season can really take that big step forward as sophomores and become real impact players. Will that happen for the Falcons if Tomic returns? Obviously remains to be seen as the Rustlers come on, and they will look to finish this one off and move to 7-1 on the season.
And I gotta say, Jeff, I gotta give credit to the Rustlers football team. They played extremely well today. Yes, they had that issue with the slow start, but the second half they played 100% perfect football. Offense turned on, defense created turnovers. They outscored Cerritos 27-0 in the second half.
Yeah, it's a great point, Ed, and it's worth noting that, again, you talk about the miscues for the Falcons, and it would be easy to kind of fixate on that rather than thinking about just how well. I'm not sure the Rustlers have had a penalty in the second half. They force a couple of turnovers. They've had maybe one.
They had maybe 2, but I believe there were special team penalties.
Yeah, they still are only at 6, which is a great number for them on the season.
Compared to last week.
Didn't turn the ball over. Very few penalties in the second half. Took advantage of the opportunities. This was about the Rustlers making some great adjustments at halftime and coming out and really dominating the action in the second half.
And I think when you look into the story of this game, the key factor will be no turnovers.
Yep.
They had 4 last week.
Yep.
And they came into this game 0, but they did force about 2 turnovers.
And they completely flipped the script in terms of time of possession. You look at the final numbers, they held the ball for 20 minutes.
Yeah, every issue that was going on last week, they came back this week and they corrected it and they played good football. So hats off to Golden West.
Yeah, in a great position, and now they will look ahead to what might arguably be as tough a challenge as you can find in the SCFA as they look ahead to their final game, which will be at Mount San Antonio College. Any final thoughts for us as we get ready to sign it off as it goes final?
All I know it was a great season being here with you guys in SoCal College Sports. I want to thank Mike for the opportunity, and hopefully we'll come back for a postseason game or a bowl game.
Well, it would appear that Golden West is on their way to the postseason. We'll see where we are as the weeks move forward.
It will be interesting 2 weeks, especially tonight's matchup, and then the pivotal next Saturday matchup. That's going to be the big game of the season for this Rustler program. The question now is, can they step up? Can they rise to that challenge? And can they conquer the big beast, which is Mount Sac? Because they've come in undefeated. They beat them here last year. Can they return the favor and get a revenge game, as they say in the pros?
That is what awaits them a week from tonight. We have a lot of great action both tonight and obviously next week. Still so much to be decided in terms of the postseason in another exciting season here in the 3C2A. Final score 34-7, Golden West with the win. Thanks so much for joining us. So long, everybody.